Okay. That should be everything. Hey guys. This is a bit of an unexpected situation. Um, I didn't want to start here. This is, by the way, I just now booted it up. Hello, Atraxia. This is the start screen that it shows that gives me because I obviously haven't done anything yet. What the hell? Oh, cool. So you can tell how last minute this is because I got the black borders. Those are normally covered, particularly because it opens in full screen, and Stay Night didn't previously do that. It opened windowed, but look, guys, I wanted to do more, a little bit more Stay Night, a little bit more Stay Night, but it had other ideas. I have no idea what's wrong with Stay Night. I'm going to be very honest. I don't know what's wrong with Stay Night. It wouldn't show up, and the little window tab thingy said that it was just a blank white screen. Whenever I tried closing out of it, it still showed that, hey, this is going to close the game. Are you sure about that? Kind of warning. But it just wasn't showing up. It wasn't capturing properly. It wasn't doing anything super well. So that's a little disappointing. That's going to have to be saved for later then, I guess. But for now, that just means that we get to get a jump on Hollow Atraxia, which I will admit, I'm not planning on starting this today. But hey, whatever. It takes into miracles and all that. So, there's not really much else that I want to get into. Anything and everything that I had prepared previously is just gone out the window because now the thing didn't work out properly. So we're going to be we're going to do this now. And I know almost for certain that this is going to go well. And you guys are just going to have to bear with the, oh shit, hold on, I didn't change the category. And you guys are just going to have to bear with the black borders if it bugs you at all. Ah, shit. Okay. Emergency. I don't know how to fucking spell Hollow Atraxia. Hold on. Emergency. Hollow Atraxia. Option. Option select. Yes. That. Double L's. There it is. Interesting. All right. That's changed, so that should be properly now. It's unfortunate, but hey, whatever. All right. Let's get on in, guys. I'm. Oh, hey, there it is. Hollow Atraxia. I'm gonna poke around a little bit here for a little bit. What's that? Turn to entrance. Oh, okay. Music, gallery, movie, scene. Hollow Atraxia. Interesting. So while we're looking through, by the way, this game does technically have cutscenes, but they've been removed for this version of the game. If I go here to patch, theoretically I could undo that, but one, it doesn't really play well here in Twitch, and also two, that breaks the game apparently. From how it's set up, it'll break the game. I tried to find a version of it in which I could, so that I could do what I did with Heaven's Feel, but that wasn't downloading for me, which is very unfortunate for me personally. It got stuck at 32% consistently across 3 or 4 different download places, and what's it called? A torrenting thing. So this is all we're getting. This is all we're getting, and maybe I'll try and put in the effort to find something else. But special menu. Mini games. What the hell? Wallpaper. Tosaka Shrine menu? Interesting. Save that for later. So let's get in. He said he was afraid of the night. Oh. Chipper. City of Shinto, Kurokiza District, Block 4. Samina Apartments, 11th floor, room 2. Hizika District. That's where he lived. His name was... let's just call him Mr. A. Mr. A was a student, and having just turned 20, had moved in the beginning of spring. This was the first time he had ever moved, the first time he had ever lived by himself, and the first time he was in an unfamiliar neighborhood. While Mr. A, an introvert by nature, still felt lost, he was adjusting to life in Fuyuki gradually. Mr. A was comfortable being alone in the first place, and never seemed to care much about having few friends and living amongst strangers. Rather, he preferred things this way. Mr. A, who had shut himself in his room, apparently liked not having his new life disturbed by anyone, be it friends or family. Mr. A was satisfied with his life. Except for two things. The long, long hallway leading to the entrance, and the hopeless, thoughtlessness of family that moved in next door 1 month prior. Woof. What was bothering, what was unsettling him began since he moved into the apartment in spring. What his parents had set him up for was a 1,000 yen monthly 4-bedroom apartment. That's pretty good, I think. The size was nothing to complain about. While Mr. A loved being alone, he had an inclination towards luxury and didn't favor living plainly. When it came to the dwelling, the bigger the better. With someone like him who hated the outside world, this place was a fortress. It had to be large and solid. It couldn't be easy to reach. He couldn't relax if it wasn't impenetrable. I can kind of understand that, yeah. Right. It wasn't that Mr. A liked being alone. It was the issue of others being near. He was unconsciously afraid of someone other than himself intruding into his space. There was another reason why Mr. A chose Samana Apartments. It was the distance from the living room to the door. The long hallway was the first and last obstacle to pass through in order to enter or leave the apartment. I hope I don't bite my tongue. Wow, Jesus Christ. The 4-meter long hall... Oh, Jesus. 4 meter long? Jesus. Stretched in a straight line from the living room to the door. There was neither storage rooms nor a bathroom along the way. It was an unusual hallway for an apartment to have, but it seems like Mr. A took a liking to it for its length. It took up the ideal amount of space and was an ideal entranceway. The far-off separation from the entrance was not so much a medium between inside and outside. It was more of an ambiguous boundary. It was unnatural. One could say that the hallway itself was the real entrance. However, once he began living there, something about the hallway started to worry him. With such splendid length, what could possibly worry him about? After being puzzled for several months, he finally figured it out. It was simple. The long hallway had no lights. It looked like a structural flaw had left no space to install any lights. The hallways of the other apartments had them, but only in room 2, floor 11, were they forgotten. That's stupid. Not the worker that forgot to install the lights, but himself, who had noticed only now after living there for several months. Come to think of it, he had already made a wrong turn the moment he had failed to realize what was amiss. Fall came, and new tenants moved in next door. They were the kind of happy family you could find anywhere. A young married couple, a 3-year-old daughter. The only contact he had with them was limited to simple greetings when they were moving in. All Mr. A knew about them was their surname, X, and the daughter's name, Samana Apartments is an L-shaped building with only 2 apartments on each floor. Wow, really? That's a pretty good deal, I think. The center is the entrance into the building, and each apartment occupies the entire horizontal or vertical part of the L. At the entrance, there is a door leading to the elevator and an emergency stairwell. Sometimes Mr. A would meet the couple at the entranceway, but on rare occasions he saw alone by herself. Oh, I forgot to turn the... Can I do that? Actually, flag list. I'm not gonna touch that until later. Yeah, we'll mute the voices for now. Until I decide. Until the time comes when I'm like, let's keep the voices around. Let's just keep the voices muted for now. But you heard it. On each channel, she pushed a button for me. Whenever they met, she would say them. The elevator buttons were slightly above her height. It was not too high for her to reach, but for some reason she never raised her hand above her shoulders. While he thought it was strange that a 3-year-old girl would go up by herself, he did what the girl asked. And he would see her not just on the 11th floor, but also the entrance to the 1st. He would find the girl crouching in front of the elevator as he was coming home or leaving. She would raise her head and say, looking up at him, "Ani-chan, why don't you push the button for me?" After having that exchange over and over again, Mr. A learned the girl's name. He did not remember it, however, perhaps because Mr. A had no interest in other people. Instead, he called her Little Red Riding Hood, because she always wore a red hood. Interesting. I'll say it again. Mr. A was an introverted young man. A hikikomori, maybe. As long as his lifestyle wasn't threatened, he didn't care about the outside world. He had, for example, an argument heard from the other side of the wall, the sound of a little girl crying once every other day, a woman's screams that could only be described as shrieking, the girl not being able to raise her arm above her shoulders due to a neglected bone fracture, or her wearing a red hood to hide the bruises on her face because her father told her to. Well, stuff that only concerns other people. The ruckus at the neighboring room was only about a meter away from the door, but who could blame him? It was, after all, a long hall. The source of the screaming was several meters away, and he inevitably had to ignore it while watching TV. But on that night, it was especially loud. A blood-curdling scream. Then, siren-like crying. And the sound of a door being opened violently, reverberating in the entranceway. And the sound of something banging on Mr. A's door. That night had been aggravating to Mr. A, who had been quietly enjoying a late-night broadcast at 2 a.m. He was about to get up and ask them to behave like a reasonable human beings. And so get up he did, but soon sat back down. It'll probably end soon anyway. Their affairs were none of Mr. A's business. Butting in at this point would get him overly involved, so he avoided thinking about it. Whatever it is, it's their own responsibility. People ought to handle their own problems by themselves. And so Mr. A took the remote and raised the volume by 5 bars. A nice, even number. By the end of the night, he was turning off the TV and falling asleep. The usual nighttime silence had finally returned. Wasn't something banging on his door? The next day, Mr. A learned that there had been a family suicide next door. It was the first time he'd ever been questioned by the police. The night before, after having heard an argument, murdered Mr. with a blade. After slashing her only daughter, she took her own life. When asked about it, "I slept like a log and didn't hear anything," was Mr. A's answer. The officer thanked Mr. A for his cooperation and was about to leave. He was walking away. As he was walking away, Mr. A asked just one question.
一人娘はどうなったのでしょう?
I muted the voices. Oh shit. I didn't save it. Okay, well, whatever. Thank you. Excuse me, but what happened to their daughter? Lowering his eyebrows, the officer replied, "We analyzed the blood remaining on the weapon, and there's no doubt she had been stabbed. Judging from the bloodstain, the wound was fatal." Except, the young officer muttered uncomfortably, "But there is no corpse. The body's nowhere to be found. Neither in the room nor in the entranceway she ran into." What happened was simple. After being stabbed by her mother, Little Red Riding Hood seemed to have managed to escape into the entranceway. At that point, however, the trail stops. The bloodstains stop in front of the elevator. So why didn't she use the elevator? In fact, why didn't she seek help from you? No matter how frantic she may have been, she should have been able to ring the doorbell at least. Why did you push the button for me? Mr. A couldn't bring himself to say that either the button was too far out of the girl's reach. The officer left, and Mr. A remained standing in the doorway, deep in thought. At 2 o'clock at night, he pictured the little girl, skipped from her crazed mother, but unable to leave the entranceway, desperately banging on Mr. A's door, on the verge of collapse with a tear-stained face. And in the end, the girl's body was never found. Several days passed. Late at night, always at the same time, Mr. A started noticing a strange noise. The noise itself wasn't loud, and if he didn't pay attention to it, it was almost inaudible. First, Mr. A didn't think about what it could be. He told himself that it was just the wind shaking the window. But the noise came back every night. Bang, bang, bang. It was a noise that was faint enough to be non-existent, but it was getting on his nerves. When he realized that the noise wasn't from the window, but rather going in the hallway... Ooh, did you see that? Mr. A walked down the long hallway and brought himself to the door. He asked who it was through the intercom. No response. The moment Mr. A came up to the door, the noise, which had been so soft moments ago, he looked outside through the peephole. But a round, distorted view. Nobody was there. A clean-looking entranceway. Nothing except red specks on the cream-colored floor that... His eardrums felt like they were going to burst. There was no one in the entrance, but the noise didn't stop. Mr. A tried to look deeper into the peephole. Maybe there was someone there. Maybe he couldn't see at this angle. The noise continued. Wait, there's something under the peephole just outside of his view. Open it. Something red wearing a hood was clinging onto the door. Oh shit. He ran back down the long hallway. The clock was showing 2 a.m. Those late-night visits became a routine event. The noise continued every night. Mr. A never opened the door. Then one night, it happened again. It was insignificantly quiet. He could have just brushed it off as being part of his imagination. This evening is frightening, but now it had been an unavoidable angst that had stained his brain, cutting away at his nerves like a blade. With each day, Mr. A's mind was being cornered. It was the end of autumn. He could now hear it no matter what time it was. That night he came to a decision. He would see for himself what was clinging to the door. He walked down the long hallway. The light from the entranceway leaked in from behind the door, passing through the unlit corridor. He pushed the door open. There was nothing there. There was no one there. The painful knocking that had been echoing in his skull was gone as well. Of course there was nothing. Something that ridiculous couldn't be true. There had never been any noise. There had never been a red hood. Ha ha. Laughter and relief mixed together. His chilled body rapidly regained its warmth. He had just been hearing things. Somehow, it seems that incident had gotten to him. Without realizing it, he had felt guilty and developed paranoia. That was all over. It all ended the moment he opened the door. Phew. Wiping sweat off his forehead, he closed the door. Once he had locked the door, he raised his head. Before his very eyes, down the long, dark hallway that he'd been so fond of, his eyes widened. In the middle of the corridor, there was something, wearing a red hood, a familiar, dead body. It seemed to be pleading at him. Somehow Mr. A knew that it would be the last thing he would hear before his death. From within the darkness its lips moved, like a watermelon that had been bored into with a knife. With a blood-stained voice, the Little Red Riding Hood spoke to him. Onichan. Oh shit. Fudge. What was that supposed to be? That sucked! And seriously, what was those visual effects? Mitsuzuri, too many details, too much good acting. Also, the story's too long. And what was wrong with that Mr. A guy? Dude, if things get freaky, then move out! Move out! October 11th, past midnight in a guest room at the Ryudo Temple. Makidera Kaede's shrieking voice resounds through the fall sky. Move, that's easy for you to say. Oh, hey, I remember her voice. Even you had been saying things like, I swear I'll leave that house for how many years now? That's the way people are. A little anxiety is enough to make them leave something they're attached to, you see. I'm gonna regret this voice. Maybe I'll live it down. If everybody would move just because of one little ghost, there'd be nobody left on the island by now. Those are profound words indeed. And indeed, ghost stories are an inseparable part of our lives. By the way, how's the geisha in your hallway? There isn't one! We don't have any noble folks like those! It's not like there's any water leaking into our hall at midnight even when it's not raining, and it's not like my ancestors were inland sea pirates either. What? So your place is that old, huh? Was that hallway story a Kimon for you? Kimon. Shut up, I'm not afraid of any hallway. I want to move into a stylish modern apartment. You know, where there's no ghost. And what's a Kimon? Is that some sort of new chakra? How can you know what a chakra is, but not a Kimon? A Kimon refers to a bad direction or bad omen. To be precise, it's the northeast direction. In other words, Ryudo Issei. Yay! He's getting more time! Yeah, boy! The son of the Ryudo Temple's head monk and the president of the student council. Issei, who came with us as a supervisor in his official role, briefly glances at me. Oh, I see. You temple boys sure know this stuff. But no thanks. What I want to hear about is more of those cosmic kind of stories, not ghosts of that kind of stuff. Like, you know, a meteorite falling into Osaka's place at the Edo period. Or there being a huge cavern underneath Fuyuki. You know, stuff with realism. Yeah. Well, I thought the story just now was quite realistic. What actually happened was that the real murderer was Mr. A, and he hid the girl's corpse inside a wall in the hallway, correct? Really? Hi, Nichan. I thought that's the purpose of a ghost story. You wanted me to tell a realistic story? Makidera, what do you think a ghost story is supposed to be? Well, conspiracy theories are Tosaka's domain. If you want to hear one, why don't you wait until it's her turn? Oh, is she here? Hey, there she is! Nothing like that. I don't really know any that would suit Makidera-san's taste. Tosaka counters elegantly. It's her usual manners at this sort of gathering. Sorry, how about Mato? I once heard from a first year that Captain Mato could be surprisingly frightening. Oh! Mm-hmm. It's not like I like scary stories exactly, I'm just good with them. By the way, Mitsuzuri-senpai, who told you that? Sakura, you have to understand. That is the scary part. She lets out quietly. No one here knows what Tosaka Rin and Mato Sakura are sisters yet. I don't mind you having a good time, but we just started. Do you want to continue or not? Personally, I think this meeting will have to be suspended if Makidera is going to continue causing a ruckus. Yeah, it's not being considered to the sleeping monks. If Makidera promises to stop screaming, let's continue. I wasn't trying to be... forgot her voice already. I'm doing 6 voices. I wasn't trying to be noisy. All I did was offer constructive criticism of Mitsuzuri's boring story. But are you going to criticize the next one too? That's the problem. I do realize that asking Makidera to control herself is about as hopeless as asking someone to stop breathing. So, what do you say? Can you stop breathing? Damn. This is old classic start of Stay Night, Tosaka. Where she's still, like, savage. Yeah, I can. The second best thing I'm good at to track is swimming. Oh, wow. See? Let's continue. Isn't it Saigusa-san's turn next? Okay. But I've never told the ghost story before. It's alright. Don't worry about trying to scare us. The tasteless story Ayako told us was actually based on a real event. Makidera-san was scared because she probably knew about what happened at the Samana apartments. Really? Yes, there was an actual family suicide in the Samana apartments. The fact that 1 month later the young man living next door went missing and the police were asked to start an investigation is also true. Shit. Stop! Stop! Stay went on a journey of self-discovery for some wonderful reason. Some reason. He'll come back one day when he becomes a big man. How dare you make up weird Did you know this guy? How dare you make up a weird reason for the disappearance of such a great guy? You're brought into the core of this area, Ayako. Did Mr. A really vanish? Yes, a resident from the same apartment said so. Right, Missouri? That's how it is. I guess I didn't need to dramatize it that much. I probably would have been enough to just tell the actual rumors. Makidera is a scaredy cat, so I guess wants to try something along the same lines. Stories about ghosts that you might have heard from somebody, maybe? Oh, I know a bunch. Does anybody know about the ghost in the window? It started as a rumor that spread in the second semester. What's that? This is the first time I've heard of it. Is Shiro here? This is something I kind of... Because he said me. The pronoun me was used at one point. What about a shadow in the haunted Western house? I think I've heard the first year students in the Archer Club mention it before. Yes, that haunted house. It's this abandoned Western-style house somewhere in the Fuyuki. And if you go there when it's dark, a shadow from a window on the second floor will stare back at you. Oh, well, what kind of shadow, Yukichi? And what do you mean by houses somewhere in Fuyuki? I don't really know myself. I think it's a mansion that people usually avoid. I heard someone actually saw it, though. That person got lost and eventually came upon a Western-style house that was surrounded by trees. There were no signs of people. Oh, they're talking about Ilya's mansion. Interesting. There were no signs of people living there, but there was a woman's ghost on the second floor. An abandoned mansion with a lady inside? Wasn't that Tosaka's place? Tosaka, your house is being turned into a haunted mansion! Huh? So that's what it was? I'm sorry, Tosaka-san, is that really your house? You don't have to apologize, Sekisa-san. This isn't the first time my house has been treated like that. I've already gotten used to baseless slander like Makidera's. This is fun. We're having fun here. Baseless slander wouldn't be entirely accurate. The Tosaka residence is actually a type of haunted house. A ghost does in fact live there. Need some warm water. Okay then, let's talk about Shinto instead. There's the story lately in the evening in Shinto. You could see a huge string-like thing in the sky. Unsure of herself, Segusa Yukika looks at the crowd. I'd say she's looking for witnesses. Did anyone see any string-like things? I've heard about this before, but unfortunately I've yet to encounter anything otherworldly. When you say sky, do you mean the evening sky? This wouldn't happen to be about a shadow on top of the center building? Well, that's a pretty specific example. Now I've heard the story of the red figure on top of the center building a lot, but I think Segusa's story is different. Yeah? There's something mysterious about the way Mitsuzuri Ayaka looks at Tosaka. As if she knows the truth behind that. Tosaka, who prefers wearing red, makes a sour face. It's been half a year since the Fifth Holy Grail. Oh, wow, really? Interesting. Since the Fifth Holy Grail War ended. I mean, she's probably still patrolling the area at night. Makidera-senpai, have you seen it? No, there has to be a UFO. I knew it. Makidera, you have no idea what a ghost story is. Looks like it. What we're doing right now is a cult, not cosmic. I hate to tell you this, Maki, but there won't be any of your favorite moo-moo stories tonight. I don't read those kind of funny out-of-whack books. They're seriously dumb. I'm trying to find her voice. It's very hard. Well, those dumb pots are, in a way, irresistible. Now, how about the mirage in the Shinto sky? Everyone shakes their heads. Unfortunately, there are no witnesses. However, I've been getting this feeling from a little bit ago. How should I put it? On the topic of rumors, here's one more from me. Everyone has heard about the castle built in the there it is, never mind. Everyone has heard about the castle built in the forest at the outskirts of Fuyuki, right? It seems there has been a new addition to that story. When somebody enters, spirits of the old Imperial army materialize and send them off to the battlefield. What does that mean? After overcoming many obstacles, the heroes stay overnight at the Phantom Castle and are looked after by two maid sisters or something like that. Huh? It's a resounding huh. Ryuta-kun, did the dream melt your brains by chance? Why, Hugh? I don't think it's abnormal, but there have been some people who have seen it. If you think I'm lying, you should go there yourself. I don't. Crap. This is kind of funny. Hey, he is here. Okay. So does Emiya-kun think about Ryuta's Tarzan? It's just the conversation to me. Up till now, I've just been an observer. Oh well, I hadn't been keeping my mouth shut because I don't know how to comment on this, but there's no way Issei would be making things up. Ryuta Temple is close to the forest, so it might actually be there, surprisingly. It's not that I have no idea what it might be. Putting that aside for the moment, I feel bad about breaking the conversation. But I've got to go to the bathroom. Bathroom break, sorry. I'll be coming back without you guys realizing it. Just go on. I'll be there to scare Makidera when you guys get to the good part. Whatever. Yep. Hold on. Try it if you can. Oh no. Oh, also, a lady. I can't lose to Emiya. There goes Makidera as usual, reacting in a weird way. Ever since I started having lunch with Tosaka, Makidera has been acting like this all the time. It's chilly outside. The night air in the mountains is cold and crisp, unlike the city. Exposed to the cool air, my unclear head and ambiguous thoughts become more defined, waking me up. Ugh. Looking up at the night sky, I let out a heavy sigh. I've already walked some 20 meters away from the room, huh? It's not every day that I find myself trying to think about something for no reason in a temple's passage. Now then. What should I try contemplating first? Maybe I should try organizing my thoughts on how things ended up being like this. Speaking of things happening to me recently, there's sort of a story. There's the story of today's training camp, there it is. It involves the upcoming cultural festival, Sakura, who is working hard as the captain of the archery club, Mitsuzuri, who is looking out for her, and the strange relationship with the track and field club. At the end of a complicated argument, little by little, a training camp was being set up for the cultural festival. Issei offered the location, and I was invited as a hard laborer, maybe. Basically, I'm in charge of the food. Life's as hectic as ever. At least things are peaceful. 6 months ago. There was a battle for the Holy Grail, with all the consequences. In that battle, something was lost, and something was gained. It's been enough time to look back and reflect on those events. I've settled down. The Holy Grail War is a thing of the past. There's no reason for another conflict to spark in Fuyuki. The Holy Grail's gone. Servants have vanished, the dead won't return, and life continues without problems. There's no need for these days to change. The factors linking them together are almost all there. Linking a similar tomorrow with yesterday and enjoying the slight changes is the proper way of life for a person. My thoughts stop. Oop. Oh wow. I'm certain there was another reason for the training camp. What was it? I'm pretty sure there was something standing towards the corner of my vision just now. Like a lady in spandex. In the direction of the temple grounds, it's too far off to get a good look, but there is a human figure running towards the back hill. It's probably a monk or somebody from the temple. Thank God I don't have to make any choices. We're not the only ones in Ryudo Temple. I really shouldn't be worried by random people. That's right. More importantly, bathroom. Gotta take a waz. Increasing my pace, I jogged down the hallway. Whoops! I've just bumped into someone coming from around the corner. Oh, excuse me. Oh. My apologies, I was dazing off for a bit. My mind freezes. I'm too surprised to even know what I'm surprised about. But you should be careful too. Running in the hall is bad manners, boy. Castor walks past me. She's as refined and sarcastic as always, but seeing her face unhooded is quite rare. However, what was I so surprised about? Oh, right. Castor sure is pretty. This monologue restarts my frozen mind, and I keep on going. I clear my head. Having finished my business, I'm back in the guest room. And thus Yahachi was resurrected. The mother's mad desire to once again see her beloved son, abused to death by the villagers, had resurrected the dead. However, the resurrected Yahachi was missing many vital parts. He had no arms, no legs, no entrails, no brain. To get replacements for the missing parts, every night from the captured villagers she locked away, she would... Issei's eyes are gleaming. I expected no less of the son of a monk. When it comes to graveyards, corpses, and Parma, he has no rival. I love all this extra character, this stuff we're getting. It goes without saying how Makidera would react, but the ghost story expert Himuro Mitsuzuri and even Tosaka are silently getting ready for the conclusion. Shit. It's the same with everyone. Yuzuki's there too, apparently. Hold on, there was something weird just now. Yuzuki-sensei is also quietly listening to Issei's story. Our brave leader, Fujini, shadowboxing in the corner. Why do you think tigers are tough? They've got anti-horror story genes. That's why. You guys don't have any, so you gotta build a resistance to them. That's a face that screams brave. She'd said this on the verge of tears. Now she's already asleep. I think this is what they call abdication of leadership. But since she couldn't let a meeting of a crowd of young people in the dark go unmonitored, she asked Kuzuki-sensei to take the reins of authority. Ever a teacher, that Taiga. And so the dead Yahachi gained a mind. Alas, by the time Yahachi could finally call his mother's name, she had passed away. The black arts had consumed his mother. Yahachi was saddened. He could no longer feel so much joy over living once more. All he had was grief for the mother who withstood such agony to revive him. And so, Yahachi attempted to resurrect his mother, just like she did to him. But no matter how many times he tried, he failed. No matter how many times he meticulously traversed the path of heresy his mother took, no matter how many mountains of villagers' flesh, no matter how many lakes of blood he used, his mother would never be revived. Oh, why? Zombies are supposed to make other zombies. Oh, wait, no. Okay. Oh, why? Zombies are supposed to make other zombies. Give them a break and make some more. It's not weird to have two moms or some moms nowadays. Who are you talking like an old man, Mr. President of the Student Council? Why you? Stop ruining the mood, Makito. It's the Ryudo family tradition of the story to be told this way. The truth was that Yahachi and his mother were different. It was a problem of the boundary. Whenever a black or supernatural art is used, there is one thing that can never be granted. That is, only the living can revive the dead. The dead consuming the dead only create more of the same kind, and they cannot bring them back to life. That gives birth not to a person, to a flesh-eating monster, and no more. That's a good lesson. It is true that the wishes of the dead cannot be granted. It is always the breath of life that causes things to happen. Even if the deceased were to be granted life once again, without a doubt, the dead cannot ever bring back the dead. It has always been like that. Only the living can bring back the dead. Unaware of that, Yahachi continues to take blood and flesh of the living for his mother. They say that even to this day, he's still collecting people's limbs at Ryudo Mountain. This is the story of Mukurazuka Yahashiro and the history of the Kageyama Intro Graveyard. Oh shit. Issei ends his tale. The candle is blown out. His turn is over. I admit, you got me there. I never expected the son of a monk to tell a story about a graveyard whilst they're staying at a temple. My compliments to your childishness. Today, this is my base camp. To annihilate the infidels, I'll use whatever I can. Who's next? The staple of camping trips. Those stories would go around in a circle. I mean, you're out. I know it's going to be tough following up after President Ryuda, but do give it a good shot. No need to worry, Mitsuri-senpai. Senpai's wonderful at telling ghost stories, right? Pretty effective at frightening Fujimura-sensei in the summer. Everyone's eyes focus on me. I got a couple ghost stories on me, but it's the first time I've ever told one to this many people. In fact, I don't really like telling stories in the first place. I can't do the weird dramatization, and I can't really tell if they're good or not. Relax, Emi-kun. Just imagine you're in your storehouse, like always. You'll be fine. Well, now I feel awkward. Oh well. It's not really like me, but this is a part of the festival. To wrap up this great trip. Okay, here's a long one. Doing something I usually wouldn't, to start telling my story for the first time. He then recounts Fate's Day Night. Oh shit. An extract is made from the middle. Shit, I didn't see that. Heavens Feel Black Night 1. Interesting. How long has this been going? I need to move the things. For an unknown period of time, I was crouching down. Not a single moan escapes me. My throat has been pierced by a rotting branch. My tongue was the first to be pulled out. My vocal organs have been carefully destroyed to silence me. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I have no body to struggle in pain. My limbs have been completely severed. It's as if only my heart is still living. My body stopped working long ago. My sense of pain alone has yet to fail me. Living and being in pain are one and the same. As long as I continue to exist, even as only a heart, pain won't end. For a long time, I have been left in this sunny spot. It is hope at its highest and despair at its deepest. How idiotic. It must be some detestable figment of my imagination. A misunderstanding coming from my insignificant awareness and inadequate experience. I repeat the cycle of pain and relief. It reminds me of the exercise repetitions I supposedly experienced in my childhood. To heaven, down to hell, west, east. That's far away, deeper than everyone, like a cradle, a paradise of blooms without an exit. It's not painful to have no limbs, lose myself bit by bit. I'm just scared. I'm scared of being nothing. I can't bear the lie of ceasing to be anything. If nothing comes from this, then this is nothing more than suffering for the sake of suffering. My body is on the verge of death. While desperately wishing to die, I frantically wish to continue living. That contradiction. Men of older times called it hell. How wonderful I can hear its silver-colored song. To be honest, I didn't want to die. For a long time, she was in a state of suspended animation. I hear something. Click, click. It sounds like pebbles hitting each other, and is somehow rhythmical, reminding me of a lively polka. With an absent mind, I listened only to that sound. Where am I? I can't remember. No, I don't feel like remembering. My indolence is embarrassing. It's ridiculous how I'm awake, but my mind and will are still asleep. I strain my lumbering head and limbs and crack the whip at my mulish body. Mulish body, there it is. Punching my arms downward, I slightly prop up my body that was lying face down. I seem to be on a couch. How long have I been sleeping? When I try to recall when I try to recall where I am in the first place, My forehead is struck by severe pain. I feel dizzy. It's almost like morning after a bout of heavy drinking. I have the bad habit of showing off by drinking all night, despite being a weak drinker, but luckily there isn't a trace of alcohol inside me. Really? Where is this? While still mentally unfocused and unsteady, I check my surroundings. I ought to be in a mansion. I don't recognize it, and I can't recall why I'm here, why I haven't been asleep until now. Click, click, click. The sound continues. There's no clock. It's pitch black outside. My gut is telling me it's past midnight. Inside there's... No, I can't see at all. Not only do my arms and legs feel heavy, but my vision has also been weakened. It appears. I know the layout of the room, but it's too blurry for me to get a good view of it. Still, I attempted to grasp my current situation, and finally... Huh? I finally noticed that in front of me. Someone is sitting with his back faced towards me. A man? It's too dark for my weakened vision, so I can't quite make it out. I can still tell that it's the shadow of a man. The man is sitting and looking downward. He's in a reading posture and pays no notice to me. It looks as if he's engrossed with something. What's he doing? I slowly push myself up to look at his hands. It was easier for my arms and legs to recover than it was for my mental ability and vision. Once I start moving, my mobility will increase the more I move. Oh, he's doing one of those. Man, those are hard. Is that a book he's occupied with? It's I believe it's a sliding block puzzle? Picture puzzle? A simple game, with the picture broken up into 16 pieces. Once all the pieces are removed and the rest are shuffled, well, one of the pieces is removed and the rest are shuffled, and then move into the open block to bring it back to the original picture, I think. It's an amusement aimed at children that everybody has picked up at least once. He's still occupied with the puzzle. I stop looking at him and raise myself up to a sitting position on the sofa. Yo, finally awake, Master? He says, as if he were an old friend of mine. Master. Oh, I know who's talking. I'm gonna keep my voice the same, but I'm startled by a mumbled voice. Huh? What, are you still half asleep? Come on, get up, you look dead. Where'd all that discipline of yours go? He laughs viciously. His voice is irritating, but I don't feel any anger. Stunned, I look at him in confusion. Why am I... That question came first. No matter how hard I try, I can't remember why I had been asleep. He furrows his eyebrows. Odd, considering I can't see very well. Then points to the corner of the room. There's an old, dull mirror in the corner. Take a look for yourself. After all, you can do everything on your own. I walk up to the mirror on unsteady feet. There isn't any lighting, and the pale moonlight sharpens the darkness. There's a cloudy mirror, abandoned for many, many years in this god-forsaken mansion. Yeah. Looking at me stunned is unmistakably myself. My voice slips out. It doesn't make any sense. Why am I startled seeing the body I'd grown up with for more than 20 years? Dark red hair and eyes. An unlikable figure, I to doubt, useful only for intimidating others. An armor of male attire that denies any femininity. This is me, the same old me, the same plain old Bazette Fraga McMinnitz. And yet I am still startled. I can feel that there is something wrong with the figure shown in the mirror. As if there's something extra. As if something that ought to be there is missing. Just as that paradoxical notion enters my mind. You back to normal yet? In that case, it's time to go a-killin'. It's not our style to lose all the time, eh, Master? With that one word, he erased the small doubt that something was out of place. Master. Why had I forgotten that word? Battle for a miracle. 7 mages putting their lives on... Really? Still? Putting their lives on the line, the master of the ultimate familiar, wielding the Holy Grail. That's why I'm here. Participate in the great ritual known as the Holy Grail, or of this Asian island country. The Holy Grail is a holy artifact said to grant the wishes of its master, but there is yet to be one who has obtained the true Grail. It is ultimately no more than a legend. The Holy Grail summoned in Fuyuki is an imitation based on this legend. However, though it may not be the original, as long as it is a powerful artifact that grants wishes, it is called a Holy Grail. To the mages, the matter of true and false is a lesser issue. The main concern is whether or not that imitation is powerful. In that case, the Holy Grail in Fuyuki could be said to be of great concern. The 726th Holy Grail summoned in that land has the potential to become the real one. In the name of the order we seek, keep it away from the world of man. That was the decision of the Mages Association, an organized self-defense body for the concealment of magic. Hold on. Mages Association, yeah. The Holy Grail War of the land is a competition between mages. Because it was like the Magic Association the last. Anyway, there's a limit to the number of participants. The association was allowed only one seat. A person to be chosen was one who was a specialist at combat. A person that was suited to use magic not for the sake of academia, but as a weapon. It is a far eastern island country's ritual, one that has nothing to do with the faction struggles within the association, and is nothing but a nuisance. A battle where defeat is not allowed, the victory would bring no glory. I was selected for that very battle. This meant using an artifact passed down within my family as the summoning catalyst for my servant. Carrying the burden of the prestige and trust of the association, and the means to fight, I departed. We are not worried in the slightest. Wouldn't you agree, Bazet Fraga McRemits? You're an excellent mage. There is no one better than you in combat. If there were, your position would become shaky. Laughing spitefully, they saw me off. As they said, it was only in combat that they had absolute faith in me as well as derision. Tradition carrier, God's holder. The other name I'm called by. An ability in magic, making use of the old blood passed down to my lineage, that determined who I am. Yes, I joined the Holy Grail War as a master. To fight in and win the war as a mage of the association. That is my mission. That alone should have been my mission. What? I have a vague feeling that I was looking for something other than the Grail. Something or someone. If that was the case, there may have been someone I wanted to meet more than being with the Holy Grail. Can't remember what happened to me in the last few days. I know who I am, but what happened later? What happened since I came to Fuyuki is a blur. I remember joining the battle as a master. I remember patrolling the city with my servant. But there's still many blanks. The last few days. That's right. My memory of everything that has happened since I came to the city has been clouded. Why have I been sleeping in this house in the first place? Hello? How long are you planning on spacing out, lady? We don't have all day. Let's go wrap things up. The figure that is speaking to me. He is a servant of being given form from the summoning of a legendary hero, what is called a heroic spirit. They're the most powerful familiars that a human being can control. There's a path between master and servant to supply magical energy. My magical energy, to be more direct, my life energy, is what powers that servant. And I can tell that my body's acting as the wedge that pins that servant to this plane of existence. He's definitely my servant. Still, was this the servant I summoned? Are you my servant? I ask while struggling with this headache. Say what? The servant rose up and is now staring at me, finally noticing that something is amiss. Hey lady. From the look of you, I'm gonna guess that you're still not ready to fight. The shadow sways, almost like a flame. I can feel it in my guts. This man may be my servant, but he's certainly not on my side. This is the sort of wild animal that would kill his master to become free as soon as he gets the chance. The relationship between master and servant is not based on trust amongst employer and employee. It is only a relationship of cooperation based on mutual gains and losses. letting down one's guard, showing even the slightest weakness, means risking being stabbed in the back at that very instant. Hey, your concerned partner is asking you a question. You're supposed to answer. Yes, I suppose I should. To be quite honest, my abilities have suffered a decline. I don't know. Coming up with voices is hard. There's no hindrance to movement, but my mind is in disarray. In particular, my memory of yesterday is vague. There's no benefit in hiding the cloudiness of my memory. I look back at the servant and reveal my current disorder. However, I didn't reveal what has to be hidden. I cannot tell him that my vision was weakened, nor that my memory is not vague, but rather missing. These are my current weaknesses. If I told him that servant would immediately bare his fangs at me. The best I could do is behave normally, while getting information from the servant and trying to recover my memory. Your memory's vague? You summoned me, but you don't have a clue about the Holy Grail War? Or yourself? Cut me some slack, lady. I would have been 10 times better off hooking up with a complete rookie. No, I know very well who I am. I remember summoning you as well as joining the Holy Grail War as a master, but it's vague as what happened afterwards. For example, I cannot seem to remember why I was sleeping here. Without showing any signs of weakness, I tell him the truth. Whether it worked out or not, the taint of suspicion that the servant had been carrying grew fainter. I will repeat myself. Why was I sleeping here? How the hell should I know? You're the one that said you were going to use this place as a safe house. And you're the one that said you were going to take a nap because you were tired right after summoning me. Oh. Ring a bell? Yeah. Before coming to Fuyuki, I did investigate a suitable safe houses as potential bases of the association. Among the ones I checked, yeah, this mansion should have been one of those. My mind grows hazy. When I try to recall what happened, I start to feel faint. I shouldn't push myself too hard right now. I have to hear what happened from the servant. Yes, I was the one that decided to use this mansion as a safe house. I do remember that. And then, I summoned you. I remember indistinctly that this happened. I did form a contract with this servant in this mansion. Right, and you fell asleep. He just told me your name and said something like, "Didn't do anything until I wake up." Thanks to you, I've been sitting here all day. Why did I have to take a backseat when I got called here to do some killing? Only my name? No, more importantly, what is the servant saying is dangerous? It's very reassuring that he loves fighting, but it will be a problem if he loves it more than is necessary. Wait, we did not even discuss the basic battle plan? Nope, probably didn't need to. We probably already checked out the city beforehand. Other stuff like what the Grail War was supposed to be was knocked into my head the moment I got summoned. The point is, just to kill the other masters faster, better, any way possible. I don't need no advice on that. Lady, stop looking at me like that. You're freaking me out. Did I say something that pissed you off? Yes, it appears we both lack an understanding of each other. It irritates me to say that my servant could be so thoughtless. I'm a mage representing the association, and I have no intention of being master of a wild animal. I stare and try to intimidate him. Whatever, said the servant, averting his eyes. But if an understanding's what you're after, I think you're wasting your time. He mutters as if it doesn't concern him. Okay, I'll listen. What kind of fighting does Her Highness, the representative of the association, prefer? We'll conduct matters secretly and avoid pointless battles. First priority will be given to obtaining information on hostile masters. After obtaining the atmosphere of this Holy Grail War, we will understand the appropriate order of who to defeat first, and then proceed to defeating each magus one by one. Those are the orders received from the association. First, I have to gather information on the three families that administer the Grail War: Ironthorn, Tosaka, and Makiri. An investigation of the remaining three masters will proceed afterwards. It may be possible to convince mages to abandon their master status. There may also be other outstanding mages that ought to be taken into custody by the association. Besides, to act without proper information is an embarrassment for a mage in the association. Huh? I'm not your errand boy. Master, if you spot an enemy, you kill him. We're all in this killing business together. Once you come across one, you can't get away, and you won't let him get away. I didn't need him to tell me that. I feel the same way, but I can't disobey the orders of the association. Do as I say. The association exists to conceal the supernatural. We cannot afford to cause a disturbance. Also, an unruly fight will only lead to the deaths of innocent bystanders. There's an absolute condition that we obtain the Holy Grail, but we must avoid involving civilians in the city. This is not only a matter of the Mages Association. The Holy Church also has involvement in the Holy Grail War. Should any damage be brought up to the city, they will vigorously move in to conceal it to ensure the smooth continuance of the ritual. There's a limit to this, however. Last time, in the Fourth War, there was a master that killed indiscriminately and daily. The priest monitoring viewed the master as an enemy and penalized him severely. So you're saying we gotta go by methods over means? Can't figure out how, but it's better not to kill in order. Is it? But it's better not to kill in order to win? This is not to win. I'm a mage. If necessary, I will kill. However, as a human being, there are minimum standards that should be observed. Oh, that's sort of... How do I put it? He sounds unenthusiastic. The servant apathetically breathes out and... Lady, how about using a command spell? Say something like, don't disobey me, because if you don't, I think I might have to kill you first. I go. He is serious. He doesn't care about what would happen next. The rule of cooperating with a master for his own protection doesn't apply to him. This bastard's seriously aiming for my throat. The servant told me to use a command spell to stop him. 3 absolute rights of order that a master has. Powerful spells given by the Holy Grail. A master's trump card that can only be used 3 times, but ensures that any command is followed. For that reason, I answer him immediately. I refuse. I've never heard of a master being ordered by a dog. Anyone who is killed by their own dog does not deserve to be called its master. You are my servant. I am the one that tells you how to move, and when you march off to die. I force back his bloodlust with my own. No matter what, if I used a command spell for something as frivolous as this, I had no future in this war. I clench my right fist and start carving runes onto the floor with my heel to be able to intercept an assault at any time. I see. Okay. Let me try having a change of heart. Okay. I'm your servant. I'll listen to my owner. The servant gave in easily. It's... how do I put it? Anticlimactic? And my heart was beating in excitement at the feeling that a battle was going to break out. So I could learn how powerful servants were. Well, no. You still got a problem? No, but... Do you really understand what I said? Yeah, keep death to a minimum, right? That's your policy. Got it. Anything else? Something else to say? Turkey sandwich, maybe? There are many things that I want to say in detail, but I have nothing else in regards to the general plan. The rest I can do by giving orders depending on the situation. Oh, okay, then let's go. I've seriously gotten sick of being here. The servant prods me to go out. I'm still physically unstable, but I am curious about what is going on outside. And anyway, after sleeping for such a long time, I want to move around freely a bit. I understand. I will make more detailed modifications to our strategy depending on what we encounter, or gain myself. For the time being, I'll have to leave Rish behind. Rish? There are limits to that sword, and I can't fully use it in my current state. After I locate the other masters, I can think about who to use it on. But I gotta say this, lady, keep the deaths to a minimum. I do like the sound of that. Yeah, it'd be great if we could do that. The servant repeats cheerfully. If you have complaints, say them. If you have any opinions about my strategy, let's settle it here. I told you, I get the point. I'm not gonna pick a fight with you since you're so scary. Well, look, Master, that's not gonna be possible. All of this stuff about killing other people or getting bystanders involved is beside the point. This town ain't gonna last longer than 4 days, no matter how hard you try. They're longer than 4 days. What did you say? You'll understand when you step outside. What you're getting worked up over stopped mattering a long time ago. The humans living here have been getting wiped out by these mysterious things pouring out daily. Mysterious things? Ridiculous. What you're saying is nonsense because my memory is. You'll understand when you step outside. Seeing is believing. Okay, Rock. The servant stifles his laughter. As I stand bewildered, the black shadow takes my hand and starts walking. Huh. Let's continue the Holy Grail War, Bazet Fraga McRemits. To find your wish this time for sure. Yeah. The house was built on top of a giant high hill. It lies hidden within a forest, separated from any human habitation. It aches. I thought that breathing the outside air would clear myself, more or less, but instead the cold night air only clouds my thoughts further. What's wrong, Master? Still too early for you to go out yet? Silver pokes fun at me. I shake my head and keep going. My mind is still sluggish. The bright moonlight seems to be the source of my disorientation. Yeah? Right? It's quiet. Of course, it's past 2 a.m. But the city is abnormally silent even for this time. It slightly resembles my own hometown. Port Town I spent my childhood in. At night, the tide would come into town and people would shut themselves into their houses as if they were afraid. The empty city was almost like a ship sunk at the bottom of the ocean, prompting a younger me to want to run away from that place. Must have felt that everybody would have forgotten that I existed if I had stayed like that, at the bottom of the ocean. I couldn't help thinking about the old gods that nobody remembered anymore, sharing the same cursed fate. And now, Yuki's being submerged into the ocean depths too. The atmosphere is different from the one I remember. It's too quiet. It may as well have been in an abandoned city. Regardless, only the presence of life is evident. I could feel almost countless numbers of creatures breathing. Surrounding me is an aura that I've never felt before. This track, by the way, is fantastic. Mysterious things is what my servant said. I don't want to admit it, but it seems there is some credibility to what he says. Wonder what's that? I've been walking for some 2 hours. The servant stops in his tracks and is now gazing at a particular residence. Well, been around this area before, but to think there's still someone who didn't get the hint to leave. He speaks with an impressed tone. The house he's looking at is nothing more than a regular building. If there's anything that distinguishes it from the other residences, it's the fact that the lights are on. Stay here. Still not ready, right? I'll go take a look first. The servant starts walking towards it with his own accord. I try to chase after him. Pathetically, I'm thrown off by the moonlight. I've got to be honest here. I can't speak for the you gotta be. I can't speak for the other servants, but me, I didn't feel like doing this from the get-go. High-level magic, the summoning of beings purified into the level of legends, and the giving of form to them to make them familiars. That's what servants are. Not something so cheap as just borrowing a piece of the power of the heroic spirits. No, it's actually a projection of the guy himself. A resurrection just for the Holy Grail War. A clone with a short lifespan. A guardian of humanity, reborn into the modern era. Sounds nice and dandy. Autonomous weapons are pretty convenient, right? Except replicating even what's on the inside is going a little far, don't you think? A familiar being able to think don't do anyone any good. It was double for servants. Suppose there's a familiar more powerful than its master. Now let's just say it can think for itself. There's no reason why it won't revolt. I was lucky enough to be someone by a master that was my type of woman. Personally, I'm satisfied with it. It looks like I'm gonna be doing some disobeying. Why? Why not? I might not have any complaints about the boss, But I got a lot of things to say about society. I feel like shit. Like I was left hanging in the morgue. Back when I was alive, the world was still lively. Nowadays, it's old and dying. Got a few 100 million years left before it kicks the bucket, and it's too late to do anything about it. Being one of those fellas that knew what she was like back in the old days, wouldn't be right not to be a little angry about her current predicament and all that. Of course, it was pretty obvious she'd been clean dry one of these days, but damn, that was fast! Now there's a part of me that's got to hate my own species for that filthiness, but another part of me that wants to pat them on the back at the same time. The power of humanity is incredible. Oh, how morals have come and gone in the blink of an eye. Makes me wonder just how many new generations of humanity have been born, and how many have been wiped out. Given how fast they are, it's too bad they haven't come up with any kind of evolution that's environmentally friendly. Gotta hand it to the hominids. They sure did a great job at amplifying a ready-made system, instead of finding their new kind of cycle. That means there's no future ahead. So if they can buy a little more time, it'd be nice if they'd come up with some new kind of improvement. Keep going. They've already gone to all the trouble of destroying this much. Where do we want to go? Why have we witnessed the land? Was this good? Was this bad? I want results that anyone can understand. Even if the answer is that it was a failure, don't mind one bit. Oh man. I really gotta wonder what the others are thinking. Those are heroic spirits' status must have the feelings of animosity towards this era. But again, heroic spirits is supposed to be on humanity's side. So that would mean they'd approve of whatever result humanity brings about. Just like how I do the opposite of that. Let's say there was this godlike, absolute being as a force of good. And let's say he was summoned here in this day and age. Now what would he do? Would he approve of it? Would he act to protect us? If he approves, we face extinction. If he protects us, he'll watch on. A sane heroic spirit would choose the latter. One with a few screws loose would happily lend a hand, and another with only one screw left would get excited for making the world a better place. Something like, I'm gonna save the world. Well, don't even want to meet that kind of guy, let alone fight him. Now, as for me, there's only one thing I can do either way. I may be a heroic spirit, but not that strong. Take a look at all the legends in the world, and you still won't find anybody weaker than me. Yay! I'm number one. So damn lucky, master. Can't get any lower than this. Easy to make up a battle plan since all there is to do to think about is to take on the strong. I don't want to think about it, but there's a good chance that lady's stronger than me in pure fighting ability. A heroic spirit getting his ass kicked by a human. Oh boy, I want to disappear. Yeah, I really can't agree with that lady. Don't cause any deaths, that's what she said. That's the way to go, my lady mage of the house of whatever. Can't expect to find a strategy that reeks a sheltered girl on honor roll. Fitting sense of pure humanity for our master. But hey, I can't do that. All I can do is kill. Honestly, a bloodless victory is a pain in the ass. I'm already the weakest. I'm not going to be winning if I'm a goody two-shoes. This thing does have lore in the name, so we ought to be relying on the slaughter technique that man has so painstakingly developed. Servants are one thing, but masters are humans. It'd be way easier to take them out with mines and explosions like the last time. Well, times have changed. Last time, things were a lot more chaotic, weren't they? Life was cheaper back then, but now... This time, things are different. The Mages Association is watching oh so painstakingly close. Plus, the system of public safety that the modern man has created is not too shabby. If I run wild, the other masters will figure out where Bazet is. Now, I don't mind fighting off a horde of people nice and fast, but consecutive fighting on consecutive nights is going to exhaust me. So I don't want that. At that point, the part on Bazet's strategy about not going overboard is fine with me. So I'll try my best to follow the master's plan, like a good servant would. Well then, with that out of the way, let's turn back to what we have now. Wait, what are you going to do? Ignoring my hesitant master's voice, I'm headed to the house. I don't have to bother checking. The fact that the lights are on means that there are live humans inside. Unfortunately, I don't have any human or heat detecting abilities. My servant skills can be summed up as nothing. But that's okay. What's inside there is human. I dematerialize myself and pass through the front door. I manifest my weapon and go towards the people in the living room. Let's finish this. Fast and cruel. Like always. Now, for all I know, there could be some accident like the strongest ultra-humanoid in all of human history is inside that has powers to pass a heroic spirit. No problem whatsoever. I may be the weakest, but I can defeat the most powerful human being. Why? Because it's not something to brag about, but when it comes down to dealing with humans, I'm the strongest. Blood splashes up in the air. The inhabitants are dead. One middle-aged man, 2 boys, 1 granny, 1 old man holding a blood-stained knife. Oh, he's still alive. What the hell? What a letdown. By the time I broke in, it was already over. His breath is ragged and heavy. The mad culprit who massacred those 4. He doesn't pay any attention to me, probably because he wants to take out the last geezer. He just backed himself into a wall and is desperately shaking his head. The murder scene and method are pretty grisly to look at. The bodies are ravaged beyond recognition. Blood, flesh, and entrails are splendidly scattered about. The choking stench of life. The living space, splattered here and there. And the end roll for the Brady Bunch. Damn clean for a murder scene. Not one little flaw. After all, it was murder for murder's sake. No robbing, no raping, no hungering. Not one bit of that here. Somebody help! I'll save him since he asked. Since it was a surprise blow from behind, the murderers killed it easily. After that, I'm back to my regular job. I want to go back with Shiro. By the time I ran into the house, it was all over. Could you? There are 5 corpses in the living room. I'm able to tell by what appears to be 5 heads severed from the nose. It's a slaughter scene so grotesque that I could not have determined how many there were through any other means. Sorry about settling things before you got here, the servant says while standing idly in a pool of fresh blood. In the servant's clenched hand is a warped dagger, a form that seems to be a mix of the fangs and claws of a beast. Is it meant to be gripped backhanded? I've never seen a weapon that looks so difficult to use. Yeah, I've seen it, it's weird. So that weapon is the Roll of Phantasm. Its symbol is a heroic spirit. Don't look at me like that. How about it? Want me to give you the details? There's no need. That weapon and the wounds on those bodies match well enough. The shadow laughs in agreement. There's no need to investigate any further. The situation told me that the cause of this tragedy was the servant. I have one question. Why did you kill them? Why ask why? I did it for you. I was just looking out for the jackpot. Looking one by one's not different. That's so different as killing them all one by one. Point is to make sure there are no witnesses, right? So if we keep wiping them out like this, we'll run into a master eventually. You. This guy, he hadn't listened to anything I said. I was prepared to accept some sacrifices once I went into battle. I am a mage, and I'm no different from a murderer. However, still, I've never desired this kind of meaningless sacrifice. Do you enjoy killing people? Huh? Don't be dumb. It's not like I like doing this. I'm doing the best I can for what you wanted me to do. Now look, just because I look like a human, don't go thinking I am one. When you get to it, aren't servants supposed to be tools for this kind of thing? You have not answered my question. I asked you, do you enjoy killing people? I glare at the servant. Holding that warped dagger, the servant. Not one bit. First off, if I kill him, I miss out on a lot of fun I could be having with him. He directed a repugnant laugh as if he wanted me to share in his amusement. Master, how dare you call yourself a heroic spirit? I can't restrain myself. It's strange. I've seen people like him countless times, yet without any reason I feel disgust at this man's way of life. It somehow feels as if this man alone must not be forgiven. I could say the same for you, lady. If you don't like killing, you shouldn't have become a master. Seriously, it's a turnoff. Man, what a waste of a good show. I was so hoping it would cheer you up, too. I see. I apologize, but I can never meet your expectations on that front. I'm not convinced. We're not going to get along with each other. You are the type of person I hate the most. I turn my hostility towards my own servant. I direct hatred similar to annoyance at the person I have to gain trust from first. I'm not acting right. The immaturity of showing my feelings and hating someone should have been discarded long ago. That's fine. Basically, I hate all things too. Piss me off if you let your guard down, so it suits me fine. I think you can call this one way of getting along. Servant shows no sign of caring. I hate him, and he doesn't think anything of me. So there will be no cause for friction even if we despise each other, as we have no plans to bond. You know, though, I kind of like your type. Except, you just said something kind of weird. Why? You said you hate everything. As your master, I know what kind of servant you are. Your course of action is not that of someone who is fond of humans. Well, for now, I'll just say you're my type of woman. I don't like you, but I got some affection for you. The reason is because I'm a woman? Not a woman, my type of woman. You're the kind that excites me. You got the kind of body I like, but parts of you, like the elite schoolgirl, or the one that tries to go by society's norms, it's just painful to look at. You understand me? This here was just me carrying out my one function like it's my job, and you're turning me on enough to make me want to find the real reason to kill you. The shadow laughs. Intent flows through our connected path, so dense I can physically feel it. The servant isn't lying. He hates all things. By nature, he sees everything as an object to kill, without reason or reward. There can be no other explanation. Not for this pure hatred that can turn into a curse without having to use the incendiary device of magic, just by existing. That leaves me with questions. For someone with as much bloodlust as him to not kill me earlier doesn't make sense. About what you said earlier. You said that you would kill me at first, but restrained yourself. How did you hold back your lust from me without being under the influence of a command spell? Huh? Yeah, it's because you're my master. I just made this rule that you're not human. To get right down to it, you just became the only living thing I don't feel like killing. On the outside, you might be a woman, but on the inside, not human at all. You've been categorized outside of my playing range. That was direct. For some reason, I find his answers incredibly hurtful. You're not going to treat me as a human being. I've heard people say before that I'm boring or that I'm not charming. It must be the first time I wasn't treated like a woman. No, he said as a human being. That is how it sounded to me. Oh, you can't trust me. It's the best I'm going to offer. The first and last exception I'm ever going to make, you know. Shit, you're pissing me off. I'm being serious here. Okay, I get it. You won't believe it without something to show for it. Alright, fine. I'll give you this so you trust me. So he interpreted my silence as suspicion. He tears out a page of a notepad from the blood-soaked desk and writes something on it. Here you go. Don't give it to anybody else. Certificate of Exception from Murder. Valid until the end of the Holy Grail War. In well-written Japanese. What is this? What do you mean, what? This is proof that you're not a person. With this, anybody can tell that I'm not into you. Good for you, he says, pushing the piece of paper into my hands. Yeah, my judgment was correct. The servant and I are hopelessly doomed to not get along. We cannot afford to stay at the murder scene forever. Hardly we leave the residence behind. I have my complaints with my servant acting without my permission, but it's already too late. If I continue to argue with him, the only thing that would result is further mistrust. However, there is one thing I feel constrained about him. I cannot trust the servant. Masters and servants are linked. Because of that, I can feel that he's fundamentally the kind that enjoys murder and completely kills his opponents ruthlessly, no matter who or what. He's my complete opposite. I complete my missions without leaving room for personal feelings. However, this servant does so only with personal feelings. He operates only on the emotion of wanting to kill people. Despite that... What, didn't you say you want to leave? Oh, I get it. You're planning on ambushing the other masters dumb enough to investigate this mess, right? A mage wouldn't fall for a trap as obvious as that, and I told you that combat is reserved for the second stage. We'll proceed with information gathering, remember? Nah, and then there'll be a stupid rookie around. Like the kind that goes on nightly patrols every night and drops dead. He wouldn't figure out what's going on around his homework. Oh shit, hold on. Ah shit. Hold on. Sorry about that, day job stuff. He wouldn't figure out what's going on around his homework. Would just get him. He wouldn't figure out that going around doing his homework, would just get him wasted by the other masters. Permanently ill of goodness, ain't he? I ignore my servant's chatter and walk ahead. And yet, despite all his negative points, I didn't feel that his servant is unpleasant. He's the kind of human being that I despise the most. I cannot tolerate him on any level. So why is it that I can't completely hate him? Well, I close my eyes and focus on our link. In exchange for the flowing magical energy, sometimes I feel something very refreshing. A feeling of homesickness rubbing against the heart, a prayer resembling longing. How hollow. That void tells me something. I don't understand the clear reason why, but it tells me this servant will never betray me. It tells me that he'll lend me his chaotic will to grant my wish. We resume our patrol. This night we focus on investigating on Shinto. Anything turning up? The Shinto investigation ends in about 2 hours. We were unable to detect any traces of mages. Hold on. Can I just say, when Bazet woke up, it was 2. Then 2 hours was spent walking around before they found the murder. And then 2 more hours were spent investigating Shinto. It should be like 6. So we should at least see a little bit of dawn. In addition, the presence of the mysterious things the servant mentioned was confirmed. A part of me finds it hard to believe, but Fuyuki was indeed completely changed. All over, I can feel an unusual presence, as if we were always being watched. The city has become to come apart in the seams ever so slightly. On a different note, while there are many traces of magical energy, there's absolutely no signs of magic being performed. Which would mean that this isn't the work of a master gathering magical energy. The only feasible possibility is that there's something feeding on the inhabitants of the city, unrelated to the war. No master would benefit from this. Doing this would instead force a halt to the Holy Grail War. I see. If it was an outside mage that had heard about the Holy Grail War, that would mean that there was a mage that desired the Holy Grail, but was not chosen as a master. Perhaps out of a twisted desire for vengeance, he is trying to disrupt the ritual? Another possibility was he made a contract with another association to disrupt the Grail War? Regardless, it's obvious that there was an 8th mage in Fuyuki. An 8th one? You telling me another nuisance popped up? I cannot say for sure, but there is a high likelihood that it is true. It is clear that an unidentified mage is trying to intervene in the 5th Holy Grail War. I have no idea what the objective mage may be, but starting off by breaking the rules of the Holy Grail War. It may be best to think of him not just as my enemy, but as the enemy of all the masters. Haha! So what's this guy like? He has no confidence in direct combat, but he is skilled at constructing large-scale fields. He is probably more suited for defense rather than offense. He has not studied magic properly. Probably. He is a mix of black magic and druid concepts. No, that's not what I meant. I want to know if he's strong or weak. The mage, his skill is elementary, however, the remaining magical energy traces were extremely dense. Magical energy is only fuel to activate magic. By itself, it has no effect. However, there are cases when it can leave behind a form only limited to those times when magical energy itself bears traits similar to magic. For example, I've heard that the Ainsburns have a personality to their Holy Grail. If that personality has magical energy, then it naturally possesses the magical trait of wish granting. Since its vital activity and its functions as the Holy Grail are likely directly connected to each other, it should be able to perform miracles resembling magic merely by releasing magical energy. The incarnated demons spoken of by the Holy Church also fall into this category. Those that were created as demons, rather than as lifeforms, can use higher level magic than humans. As mages, our magic circuits are nothing more than pseudo-nerves, an ability that was later added behind our nervous system. However, demons have no need for those. All of their organic functions merely serve the purpose of invoking the demonic. I heard the Church calls these true demons, different from imposters that don the hide of human concepts to become a unique entity. They are genuine demons that the Lord has commanded before man would name them, or so I hear. Regardless, it appears that there's a dangerous interloper. If this mage is a careless fool, we need not heed attention to him. If, however, he is a freelancer hired by the Church, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. Now that I think about it, the one who won the previous war was a freelance mage hired by the Ainsburns. His name was Emiya Kiritsugu, a combat mage called in by the Ainsburns, who had retired from the front lines by the time he had assigned to sealing missions. By the time I had been assigned to sealing missions. Our occupations have a tendency to intrude on each other's territory. Had he been active, I would likely have fought him numerous times. While the situation is becoming more unstable, I can't change my policy just because of one more enemy. My water. I will proceed with an investigation of all the masters, causing as little damage to the people of the city as possible. Problem's what to do next. It's obvious that my servant's abilities are low-ranking. In a straight-out fight on pure ability, he will eventually exhaust himself and lose. I have to think of an order of who to fight, but I know very well who our final opponent ought to be. The lineage of Holy Grails, Ainsburn. It has been said that they prepared the most powerful master for this war. In the past, I fought a homunculus created by the Ainsburns. Being a failed creation facing disposal, they ran away from Ainsburn territory and survived by scraping out a meager existence in a human city. I was responsible for destroying it, but the results were bitter. Even considering that at the time I was still inexperienced, the Ainsburn-produced homunculus was tougher than many mages. The same Ainsburns have produced a master for this battle that they believe to be the most powerful. In all honesty, I can't even begin to see any chance of victory at this stage. Until I discover what tricks the enemy has up their sleeves, fighting against the Ainsburn is suicidal. In the forest on the outskirts of the city lies an old castle the Ainsburns control. The day we invade that forest will most likely be the day my Holy Grail War will end. One way or the other. The last place we come to is a hilltop graveyard for foreigners. I suppose it's because of the Ainsburns casting a shadow over my mind. I feel disoriented from a headache. I really didn't want to come here. What's wrong, Master? Got something on your mind? My unease must have shown on my face. My servant's actually showing concern for my health. I allow myself to be taken in by his sudden consideration. Allow me to ask you a foolish question. Do you believe that I can win? And I'll put into words what weak uncertainty that I had tried not to think about. The servant's expression changes. Keeping his mouth twisted with sarcasm, he turns his back to me. Still early to be worried about that. Whether you win or lose, you have to first figure out what to fight, but... His voice is strained. He's bent forward like a beast with prey before his eyes. God damn, it's just not my thing. So we don't have time to be worrying. He's grinning. What he sees is a master and a servant. I feel a powerful flow of magical energy. The command spells on her left hand shine brightly. She's still young. Appears to possess wisdom that far surpasses my own. Red. Damn! Good evening, mage of the valley peasants. I wonder if there's a need to introduce ourselves. She's probably from one of the great houses. Her eyes are full of derision. Oh wow. Sakura too? Her side is another figure. I cannot tell which class she belongs to, but the fact is that a master brought her means. She must be a servant. Uh-huh. This is a good look for them. I remove the leather gloves inscribed with runes of protection from my chest pocket. I take them out along with something hard. Hey, why was I carrying this earring? Why had I tucked it away so carefully? These questions rise to the surface, but now isn't the time for that. The gloves on. The girl waits politely for me to make my move. I regret not bringing a rock with me. If I survive, I'll make it sure to carry it, even if I'm only out for investigations. Well, I shouldn't use my trump card immediately. Having it increases the range of my strategy. I'll determine how strong the enemy is. You'll engage the servant. Oh wait, I'll determine how strong the enemy is. You will engage the servant. Gotcha. Not taking any care for what she would do, he rushed towards the girl servant. I'm all excited and jittery. The two figures clash. I pass by the side and run towards the defenseless master. Huh, so you're only a nameless peasant. Very well. Be honored to be killed by the Edelfelts. Interesting. She fired a scatter of Gondor. A one-action spell preventing close combat. Their magecraft is a firearm in itself. This isn't a metaphor. Edelfelt. The noble family of Finland. The Orscales. The same Edelfelt that produced the many masters of the Gondor. This generation's young head was praised as the pride of the lineage, but now that I've seen how skilled she is, I can agree. I don't block the Gondor aimed at both sides of my thigh. I keep moving, parrying only the Gondor that would hit my upper body with my left wrist. You blocked your Gondor with only your bare hands? I move in. My right fist lowered to the base of my chest, strikes aimed at the side of her stomach where her kidneys are. I'm blown backwards. A figure appearing from behind her protects her from a body blow and repels me. Oh! A swordsman stands in my way. A servant. There's no denying it. But this is the servant. And who was the... The moment I look away to confirm the battle is over. Saber, help! The other girl screams. Saber defeats my servant just as the girl had ordered her to. Interesting. How appallingly weak. With just one flash of steel, not even able to match sword against sword, my servant has his neck pierced and is already gone. Pathetic. It's gotten dull. Saber, end this quickly. When you're done, let's go back and enjoy a hot cup of coffee. Saber nods silently. Interesting. There's that CG. I'm defeated without being able to prepare my weapon. So this is Saber. It doesn't make any sense. The two girls are each using a different saber. It seems your investigation was inadequate. Have you never heard that the heads of the Edelfelt family are always sisters? Sisters. That is the magic trait of their bloodline. The normally abhorrent notion of having two successors was the reason why they were called scales. Then, the two of them are one master and summoned two different sides of the same heroic spirit. That is one down. Be honored to have been killed by us and squirm in the humiliation of being the first to be defeated. There are now 5 masters remaining. Voice echoed to the moon. Saber silently, without showing any hint of emotion, thrusts her sword into my chest. My consciousness is being severed. The moon is cycling like a white skull, and thus comes to an end to my Holy Grail War, once again. Losing sight of the ending without conclusion. The curtains fall. Next. Back Night 2. This is weird. Oh, hey. Opening movie. Let's go. Follow Ataraxia. Hmm. Hmm. I want to ask if Heaven's Feel was the canon ending? There's a lot of evidence to the contrary. Oh, cool. Berserk is still around. Hmm. That's Stairway to Heaven? Oh, shit, what the heck? Hello? Are we good, Heaven? Follow Ataraxia? Hmm. We've woken up in the shed a long time, a lot of times. You know what? So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna look at that later. What we're gonna do is we're gonna save and go back to the title. This is a good place to stop, as it's the start of another day. Flags are kept. Continue config. Change game settings. This is all very interesting. Yeah. I guess we're starting Hollow Ataraxia early, guys. I have nothing else to say. Let's all give it up for Hollow Ataraxia. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. So I will say, I do play Grand Order. I've been playing it for an extremely long period of time. So I do know some spoilers about this, but mostly just who people are. Like I already know some stuff about Bazette. I know some stuff about her. That lady, the one with the white hair and yellow eyes. So I know about her. But yeah. I want to do a better job of capping this off, but this whole thing was kind of a late, last-minute addition. So we're gonna. It's gonna be as it's gonna be. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I know I certainly enjoyed seeing. It feels weird to call them old friends because they're fictional characters, but like honestly, some of them I'm like, yeah, that's my buddy Shiro Emiya and his friend Ise, and everybody's having fun, everybody's cool, and nobody's died except for Bazet that one time. But yeah, I will see you all in the next weeks. Make sure to take care of yourselves and have a great rest of your day. Later.